is a movie review. In the movie review, we're going to be talking about the movie, so we're going to say it like this one time. Spoilers. If you haven't watched Suicide Squad, just give this video a thumbs up, let it play, come back later, and turn the video off. That's our advice. And then after you watch the movie, come back, watch the video again, let it play. There you go. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Greg, he's cute, together with Mr. Happy 0121, and today we're here to review the Suicide Squad. Before we get started, let me just say, my review comes from a person that's a little bit biased. When I was a kid, in 1987, yes, I am that old, the Suicide Squad was my very favorite comic book. So you would think either I'd be really anal retentive about this movie, or I'd be overly forgiving. I don't think I'm either. I think I'm fair, but I just wanted to throw that out. What did you think of the movie?
I really liked it. It was good.
Who was your favorite character?
Deadshot, yeah.
Deadshot. Nice pull. Was that the only character you could think of at the moment?
No.
I was going to say, if you forgot Harley Quinn, then, you know, I would be worried about you. A lot of the critics of this movie said that it drug out after the introduction of the team. Like, when they were first introduced, a lot of people liked it. But the critics are saying that this movie really took a nosedive once they were on point for the mission. What did you think?
I didn't think so.
In fact, I believe before we left to see this movie, you were telling me that a YouTube critic informed you that this movie sucked.
Well, I didn't watch the video. I just saw the title, and it was like, Suicide Squad sucks. And yeah.
Okay, well, let me break it down for you a little bit. As someone that, if there was a problem with this movie, I would be the first one to hate it. I thought the movie was perfectly paced. I've never had a moment where there was like a long lull of nothing happening. Pretty much 80% of Batman vs. Superman felt like a long lull of nothing happening. Like something happened and then you were just like, okay, what's going to happen next? This movie kept moving along. They were always going towards an objective and it always felt like they were doing something. I was never bored. The movie never felt long. The action seemed well paced. It wasn't like very funny, but it was more light than Batman vs. Superman, which was nice. It didn't feel like you were at a funeral for 2 hours. The only complaint I have, and it's a small complaint, the only thing I would have done different with this movie is the villain. The characters that they have in this particular movie, including Killer Croc, feel a little more grounded, like a little more realistic than like Superman or a lot of comic book superheroes like Thor from Asgard. I really think that this movie would have been better served if they would have fought a villain more along the lines of the Joker instead of fighting a medieval witch from another dimension. Which, the Enchantress in the original series was a killer member. I was a little disappointed that they didn't let the Enchantress wear her witch's hat and her short skirt, which would have been more awesome than the outfit they gave her. But that was really my only complaint of the movie, is it felt really kind of like ground level, and it felt a little more realistic than most superhero movies, and then they're fighting a witch from another dimension. So, there's that. What did you think of the villain in this movie?
Thought it was a little corny.
A little generic?
Yeah, extremely generic.
It was like they took a Marvel villain and transplanted it into a DC movie.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Because Marvel always has great characters and then until they get to the villain. With the exception of Loki. This was just a giant witch and her big brother. As far as the casting goes, I liked everybody in the movie. I will say this, Will Smith is Will Smith. And he is so big that at times this didn't feel like a superhero movie. It felt like Will Smith and some D-list villains from the DC universe. Which I'm totally fine with. It worked in this movie, and they are D-list villains from the DC universe. I just never really felt like Will Smith was Deadshot. Nothing. The movie worked fine, but
I felt like he was Deadshot.
He felt like Will Smith to me. It was like Will Smith in the Suicide Squad. Will Smith as Deadshot. But in this case, in this movie, it didn't hurt the character. It didn't hurt the movie. In fact, I felt it helped it. They needed to have somebody you recognized, somebody you cared about. And they kind of made him like the moral center of the movie, even though he was like a murderer. Pretty much, even the leaders were like corrupt government officials.
The anti-hero.
Very much so. As opposed to the rest of the anti-heroes, which were very anti-hero. As far as Harley Quinn goes, I thought Margot Robbie did a great job.
Hey, she was in Wolf of Wall Street.
She was.
She was.
And I thought she was a little bit hotter in this movie. But, you know, short shorts and a baseball bat, that's what you get. Even Captain Boomerang, who was a little bit different from the comic book version, once again, I was fine with it. The only one I was iffy on out of everybody, and he was starting to grow on me towards the end, was the Joker. Jared Leto's Joker was so different, it took me a minute to kind of embrace it. I really, spoilers, we'll say it again many times, before his helicopter gets shot down is about the point where I really started to go like, okay, I can go with this guy. Because he didn't really feel much like the Joker. He just felt like a psycho with green hair.
I feel exactly the same way.
And when he was doing the laugh, it felt kind of forced. But as the movie wore on, I got kind of used to him.
I didn't.
He was like the weakest casting in that movie, I felt, though, in my opinion. As far as DC movies go, and now here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the Nolan-verse Batman movies, just all three of those, and we're going to put them over here. Over where?
You know where.
Over here. Okay, so whatever we say about DC from this point, the Nolan Batman movies are not included. Now let's continue. In my opinion, this is the best DC movie I've ever seen. Remember, these are over here. I can't come up with one that I enjoy better. Now, DC has made a lot of clunkers. So this was kind of like the smartest kid on the short bus, but in my opinion, easily the best. Also, I would say probably better than 80% of Marvel movies. I enjoyed this movie more than the Avengers, and way more than the second Avengers. This was way better than Age of Ultron. I don't understand where all the critical hate for this movie is coming from, but the acting, the special effects, the pacing, everything was on point for me. This is a movie I could see myself watching multiple times, whereas Batman vs. Superman was a chore to get through once.
And the movie is exactly what you expect from watching the preview. Exactly.
The only other thing this movie suffers from, and they kind of got around it, if they would have made this movie an R-rated movie, they could have done more with it. The way they got around that was they made the people that they were killing, they had them get turned into monsters, so it wasn't actually them mass slaughtering thousands of people. Otherwise. But for the next movie, I say they go in hard, make it a hard R. Deadpool proved you can make that R-rated money. It ain't going to hurt nothing. And The Killing Joke just set records all over for a one-day showing for a cartoon that was R-rated. So again, rate the next one R. I'm sure that's going to be the selling point on the Blu-ray. That's what I would do, because apparently they cut out some stuff. Make it longer and put an R on it.
Yeah.
Okay, we've stalled long enough. The moment of truth is here. What rating out of 100 do you give The Suicide Squad?
84.
84. Now again, I told you guys, I'm a little here or there. I'm going to say a 93. I liked it better than pretty much Batman vs. Superman. I liked it better than the last X-Men movie. I would say almost as much as Deadpool, and I really, really like Deadpool. So, there you go. For what it's worth, there's two people in the world that are telling you that The Suicide Squad did not suck. Go see it. Now, I don't know the people that are going to see Suicide Squad that aren't liking it. I don't have any clue what they're throwing rocks at. So, if you guys have a different point of view on the Suicide Squad, of course, let us know in the comments below. That's what YouTube was created for, to tell someone how wrong they were in their opinion of movies. So we look forward to it. The few of you that probably agree with us, let us know too, because it's nice to know someone agrees with anything we say. You got anything else?
Nothing else.
We're about to sit down and drink some Crystal Pepsi. Later today, me and this fool, the review is going to be up. He has never once had Crystal Pepsi. Never has it touched his lips. It's about to happen. Look for that later today. Until next time, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can find us on all social media. Mr. Happy 0121.
Stay vigilant.
Yeah. We didn't even mention Katana. She only had like 6 lines and they were all in Japanese, but she was badass.
Yeah.
The Soul Sword. She originated in a book called Batman and the Outsiders in 1985. She was one of the outsiders. They've made her much more badass than she was in 1985.
Yeah.
Yeah. She even appeared on the TV series Arrow, and she was pretty badass on there. So.
Wow, you got a lot of knowledge about Katana.
Useless Katana knowledge. The Batman and the Outsiders had Metamorpho.
Oh, boy.
He was a guy that could turn into just weird shit based on the periodic table. chick with a sword.
So he could turn to like iron or barium or whatever.
Yeah. They had some guy whose name was literally. And then he would use scientific applications to get out of shit. He was like, "Oh, I'm about to die. What gas is really light?" And he would turn into a gas and float away.
That's cool.
Yeah, I guess. But the sword chick, Batman, that dude, and some dude, either Captain Geo or Geo Force, he had the power of the earth. I don't even know. When I read the book, I don't even know what the power of the earth is. But see, all of that is a story for a different time. We are right now living in a world where you and I are talking about Katana, and you even have the slightest friggin' clue what I'm talking about.
I do.
Amazing times.